All righty. Merry Christmas and welcome to the end of our second semester. Can I get an amen? Thank you. Amen. Uh, we've got a time now to post our term grades, followed by exam grades, and then our final grades. So we want to make sure that we get this all correct. So if we're looking at our term grade, we want to make sure that all of our in progress grades are not only populated over here in the posted grade section, but that they actually match. Sometimes we thought we hit post and save, and we didn't. Kind of like when students thought they submitted an assignment, but they didn't. Um, Double check, make sure. One of the other things you might want to look at also is if you do have multiple categories. For example, this one just has one category for the particular type of class that is. But if I were to go to another class, say for example this one, and I look here, I do have assessments and classwork, each calculating in their own percentage category. You might want to double check that this is correct for what you would expect in a final grade. Manually calculating one of those with your handy dandy calculator would be a good way to test a couple of them just to be sure that you're happy with what it does. Now, if you have successfully double checked your term grades are good and what you expected, and you've made any modifications you want to make, for example, if they do get a 79%, but maybe you want to go ahead and bump them up to that 80 because of the extra hard work that they did, or just be that teacher and say, you got a 79.24, not good enough, you still get a C. Either is perfectly fine with me, completely up to you. You can be a Grinch or you can be the elf, your choice. Either way, once we're done with your term grade, we need to go over to exam. Now, some of you may have already put in X's for your exempted students, and that's perfectly fine, and we hope that you do that. Do not type anything in the percent column if they are exempt. Just choose out of the drop down for the grade X. That will exempt them from the final exam, and we'll go from there. Now, if you are typing in grades, those grades need to be typed into the percent column. Do not add an assignment here. We don't add assignments in exam. We don't hit post in exam. You are only typing in the percent column whatever their score was. So if my first student here gets an 87%, note I didn't click anything in the grade column. It automatically appeared because it's all set up correctly. If that's all good and say this person got a 98% and they're happy, we click save, not post. This is exam. You don't post exams. Now what happens when you hit post? It wipes everything out and you get to redo it again. So please don't hit post in exam. Just type them in the percent. Make sure it does auto-populate the grade column, then click save. When you have saved all of your exam grades, all of your term grades are all posted and accurate, you're ready for the final task, which is to go over to final grade and see again that you have a term grade that makes sense, an exam grade that makes sense, and maybe just one of those we'll do a little handy dandy calculation on. So let's do one together. If you had a 103% term grade, which this student actually earned that, 103% times 0.8 is our 80% term grade that is calculated. We're going to hit enter. Plus, they got a 0.2% on their, yeah, I love this calculator. That didn't work. Let me get a better calculator. And all the math teachers are snickering. So like, I told you that wasn't going to work. And Mr. Winslow's probably saying, you should be using Desmos because that's what we teach our students. Well, I still like a TI calculator. I do lots of really complicated things in here, and I prefer this over Desmos. But anyway, 103% times our zero point 0.8 for the 80% term grade, plus that student got an 87% on their final exam, so times zero point 0.2 makes that add up to your 100% grade. We see a 99.8 on the calculator. Now, if I double check, a 99.8, I rounded a little on that, is correct here, which does in Infinite Campus round up to 100%. So if I were to now hit post, this student's grade would update with the correct posted grade. I've already hit post for some of my exempted students just so that they know what their final grade is. But we want to see this column here populated as well. right? And when you see on final grade, all these term grades are filled in, all these exam grades are filled in, and all of these posted grades are filled in, you're almost finished. Not quite, but almost. You see that little CC right here? If you don't have that, I'm going to send you a document that shows you how to enable them. If you're missing that part and you don't have a little CC for canned comments to click, then you need to go through your account settings, which I've updated the pictures for. Make sure you check that box for used canned comments and click save. Now, what is the point of canned comments? Well, when they're available, like we wanted to see there, you have the ability to make your comments either if they did a great job and you just want to be that person and say, good job, student, exceptional performance, fantastic. You had that one student that failed your class. Maybe you might want to put something in as to explain why did they fail that class. Too many absences, failed to make up missed quizzes and tests, exhibits little to no effort. I've had a few of those this 9 weeks. It just happens. We want to put that kind of information generally if they're, one of your best students or one of your worst students. But most importantly for Miss Berry and what she's going to ask you to do also are all of these GT comments. Now, this document, again, which I will be sharing with you, has all of my little shortcuts to where everything is. So let's say my first student is a GT student. I am required to put some sort of comment on how did they do in regard to their area of excellence. So let's say that that particular student, the first one that had 103%, he is a math student, gifted and talented at math, also in leadership. I will take note that 155, he was meeting leadership expectations, or 154. Maybe he was exceeding them. I think he was exceeding them. So 154. His math, again, I'm going to go with exceeding. That's 157. So 154 and 157, I'm on the final grade, canned comment. I can type those codes here, 154, and click add. And there it is, GT leadership exceeding expectations, and 157, add, and GT math exceeding expectations is also there. Feel free to peruse this lovely list, which has copious amounts of particularly canned comments that you can use. We're going to hit save when we're happy, and this will show up on the student report card / transcript, which is important. So we want to make sure that we're doing that kind of information when posting final grades as well. Okay? As always, if you guys have any questions or just need help because something's not quite looking right or not working the way you expect, give me a call, send me an email, come by my room. Pretty much my whole day tomorrow is mostly wide open because of the way my schedule worked out. So if you need help, tomorrow's the day. Come by anytime and see me, and we'll get you squared away.